Hey everyone, it's Melody with the Sonshine Stamp Company design team today. I'm over at the blog today if you'd like to go check out that post. It will also have a link to this process video as well as a link to the 4 different stamp sets that I use in this layout. Now, I'm also going to link those stamp sets in the description box below, so make sure you go check those out. They're really nice, especially this camper one. That's the whole reason I decided to pull out these photos and scrapbook them today. So the very first thing I'm starting with is a 6x6 pad, and this is from Pebbles. It's their Lakeside pad. So I got the new Camping with Him stamp set from the Sonshine Stamp Company. And I immediately went through my photos trying to find some pictures of a campground. Now, we used to camp a lot. We don't really camp a whole lot anymore. But last year when we went to the beach, well, last year and this year we went to the same place, but the house that we go to is in a community that also has campsites. So last year we were there during a hurricane. I think I've talked about this before, but we were there during a hurricane and there was a lot of flooding. And so at one point when it wasn't quite so rainy, it was still raining because it rained the whole time, but when it wasn't quite so rainy one day, we actually drove our little golf cart down to the front of the beach at like the beach front and took some photos around the campsites because you could really see the flooding. So these are pictures of empty campsites in the middle row there, and so I thought it'd be, since there aren't any campers on those campsites, I'd go ahead and add my own camper by stamping it out. Now, I'm just using this Lakeside paper pad because though it is about being at a lake, they have some really cool prints that just made me think of camping. And funny enough, I actually didn't use any of the real themed papers, but still, I just like the overall feel of them. So this is that amazing camper that I was talking about. It's incredibly cute. Love it, love it, love it. So I decided to go ahead and stamp this out again. It just wasn't quite as crisp as I wanted it to be. And I'm going to fussy cut this. But before I do that, since I stamped it on some pattern paper, I don't have to like color it in because it's already got the color of the pattern paper, but I am going to do some detailing just with a black felt tip pen here. And this is just a Papermate felt tip pen, and I'm just coloring in the trailer hitch on the camper as well as the stripe across the camper and then the tire. Nothing too fancy, just enough to kind of add a little bit more than just an outline. I highly considered paper piercing paper piecing. There we go. Get it out. Paper piecing this camper and kind of making it a bunch of different colors, but I really actually liked just the basic kind of teal background, and it liked the way that it looked on this navy card. Now, I actually had our parking pass from the community, so I'm gonna make this bottom card here my title card, even though it's going to be on the bottom row. So I've got my camera, I've got the parking pass, and I just cut off everything on there except for where it says Ocean Lakes Car Pass, and it has the address to the place that we were staying. Now this is one of those pattern papers that was also there, and I'm going to cut out this one that says Go Camping Heap a Livin'. Heap a Livin', that's how you say it, Heap a Living. But it's not going to go on this card, it's going to get moved to a different card. So being that this is my title card, I also pulled out the calendar stamp set from the Sonshine Stamp Company, and I'm going to stamp out October, and I'm going to do 2 and a 5 because we were there from the 2nd to the 5th, and then I'm going to stamp out 2015. This stamp set's really versatile too. If you don't have a good calendar stamp set, this one's really nice because they've got a larger option and a smaller option, and this is actually the larger option. So just imagine the smaller option is much, it's not much smaller, but it is smaller, so that gives you, it's a really nice size to be able to use in Project Life because it's not too large at all. And it's got months, days of the week, numbers, 0 through 9, and then a couple other little words like date and to do and things like that. But if you want to check that out, make sure you go to the stamp company website because it'll have all of the stamps there that you can actually use. Now, as I usually do, I'm kind of skipping around on my page here, and now I'm up to the top. I'm actually using some snap cards from their Good Day Sunshine collection to also include in those 3x4 pockets. And that Today card at the top with the photo of my nephew is also from that Snap Good Day Sunshine set. So this card that I'm working on here, this yellow one, says, "Here comes the sun," and then I'm putting in these Kaiser Craft little mini alphas, "Not even once." So it says, "Here comes the sun, not even once." So it's just kind of playing off the fact that it was totally rainy and flooding and just terrible weather. But I'm telling you, we had a great we had a great beach trip, and I'll talk about this in other layouts that I've done regarding this trip. Now, this little piece that I cut out that said "Go Camping, Heap a Livin'," I'm actually going to back it on that same wood grain paper that's on the top layer, the top row. And then I'm going to stamp out this one banner stamp that's just the outline. Now I'm putting it on white cardstock because it's going to layer over top of this photo, and the photo is really kind of busy. So I wanted just to have a basic white banner to go under that camping label. I'm trying to find a card to go here or on this row, but I'm not going to actually find it in this pack of cards. But I am going to find this one that says "Life's a Beach," and I'm just playing in the sand. I'm cutting it out. I'm going to layer it on top of this yellow one. I just needed a little bit more yellow because that "Here Comes the Sun" card seemed to be standing out to me. So I'm going to put this one here on top of here, and this card's going to give me a little bit of grief because I don't like the way that it looks. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Kind of fiddling around trying to figure out what I want to do, and I end up going to my scrap bin and pulling out this old sassafras paper, and it's just kind of got a very simple tone-on-tone blue pattern, and I thought it just needed something to have the background on this one photo. You don't see much of it, but I just needed something, obviously, to back that photo on. And it's going to take me a minute to also kind of figure out what to put behind the other 3x4 pocket. I usually figure out my cards at the very beginning, but for whatever reason, this layout, probably because I wasn't using cards, I was using a 6x6 paper pad. It took me a minute to kind of figure out what I wanted to do for those 3x4 pockets. I'm stamping out another banner from that Planner Basics stamp set, just on a piece of pattern paper this time because it's going to be layered on a white card right here at the top. I'm sorry, my head is in the camera a lot in this video as I'm writing, and I apologize for that, but I just put a little bit of journaling there, and that's actually going to be my only journaling on this layout because it's really kind of the embellishments kind of tell my story. It wasn't, and then I also have a lot of other layouts in my album regarding this trip, so it's not like I needed a whole lot to go with this, a whole lot of journaling rather to go with this spread, but I have the important bits down, which is where we were, what's going on with the hurricane and all of that. So as I said, I'm still working on that "Life's a Beach" card. It's just, I don't know, it just didn't seem right to me. So I stamped out a geotag and trimmed it out. And then I also added a little bit of stamping on the background of the card. Both of those stamps came from that Planner Basics stamp set. I decided to pull out this stamp set called Lisa's Letters to do the very bottom here, this bottom photo. And I start to stamp out the letters. It took me a minute to figure out the name of the hurricane. So we were there during a hurricane, and like I said, it was October of 2015, and it's in South Carolina. So I actually had to look it up just to make sure the hurricane name, because we actually just had Hurricane Matthew come through a couple weeks ago, and I could not remember the name for the one last October. As you can see, my fingers are tapping there as I'm trying to figure it out. And so I wrote it down just so I would make sure I spell it properly. And I was going to stamp it directly on my background, and then I thought, well, you know what, let me stamp it on some white cardstock to make sure that it fits. So these stamp sets, as I said, are from, this is the Lisa's Letters stamp set, and I really like it because the letters are not quite an inch tall, so they're significantly smaller than the Kate's Hand one that's also in the shop, which I absolutely love. You can see it sitting right there. But once I stamped it on the white cardstock, I actually really liked the way that it looked, so I just cut it out, and I'm going to use that I was first using it just as a way to measure the spacing, but then I decided to go ahead and use it on that card itself. I had to switch up the cards because I wanted to use these Kaisercraft alphas to write hurricane, but I didn't want the Kaisercraft alphas on two cards that are right next to each other because I'm not going to use them anywhere else on this layout. So I'm just putting hurricane, so it says the hurricane name, and then I'm also going to go back and stamp the word memory, and that's going to be from the Planner Basics stamp set as well. I love using stamps on layouts because, as you can see, other than the alpha stickers, the Kaisercraft ones, all I've used on this entire spread so far is paper and stamps. Well, and of course ink, but I haven't used anything else. I'm just using paper and stamps, and that's it. And I've actually, I mean, you could embellish the entire spread this way. This is where I'm going to start to pull in a few other embellishments just to kind of help finish out the layout. And then I finally decide on this constellation paper to go in that last 3x4 pocket. So I'll pull out a few wood veneer. I have 3. The one at the top says smile, and then I have an arrow at the bottom, and then also hashtag pick of the day. And that's those. Actually, I guess the one with the camper is my title card, but the other one also kind of gives the location and what we're doing. So really, my whole bottom row is kind of my title to this spread. And once I get these 2 down, that finishes off those 2 bottom photos, or photo pockets, cards, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going through adding a few other little things. I had a lot of things sitting on my desk from previous layouts, and I'm just kind of flipping through trying to decide what else I want to do. And I do have this pink paisley C'est La Vie like ephemera pack, and I'm going to pull out a few pieces to go on the top 2 4x6 pockets. And then the very last thing I'm really going to do is add a few little word strips, and then also I'm going to add 2 little banners under that Life's a Beach card that's still not working for me. Pretty much have this one figured out now. The layout itself is actually fairly simple, but I love the mixture of the stamping with the paper. I had not used that 6x6 paper pad yet, so I knew that I had a camping sort of themed paper pad in my stash that I had gotten a while ago and that I had not used yet. So I was quite excited when I got the stamp set in with the camper. I just thought it was so incredibly cute. So I had to use it, of course. And then I'm just going to stamp out 2 little banners here to go under the Life's a Beach little label there, just to add something. It just wasn't looking finished to me, and this really helps finish it off. So that's pretty much going to finish out this layout. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you go check out the blog. There every day we have a new post go up from one of the design team members, and there's a lot of inspiration to be found over there. So go check out those lovely ladies. They all have some really cool layouts and projects for you. There's a lot of Bible journaling on there, and a lot of project life. There's just a little bit of a mixture of everything. So make sure you go check that out, and it's going to be in the description box below, linked in this video. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you go check out the Stamp Company website, and have a great day, guys. Bye.